So even though it's the weekend, my time is mainly going to be spent studying today. The terms are so short that I'm not really seeing a difference between like weekdays and weekends. It is pretty similar to my weekdays, aside from the fact that I don't have classes. And we're now coming into the most stressful period of term, where we've just suddenly got a lot of assessments, there's a lot of reading, a lot of work. And when we get to this point in term, it becomes more important than ever to be effective with studying, to be kind of approaching it in a productive way so that you can get as much from your time, because time is limited. Revising effectively becomes so important. And obviously this is something I've spoken about a lot on my channel over the years, but my incredible friend Jade, Unjaded Jade, has recently released a course with Skillshare where she's running through effective study practices, and all of it's based on evidence because obviously she studied cognitive science.
And I'm here to teach you how to study based on the science of learning.
Which brings me on to the sponsor of today's video, which is Skillshare. Skillshare is host to an incredible number of courses that you can do, including Jade's studying one, including Ali Abdal's productivity tips. Both of these courses can help you to learn more effectively, but also outside of that, the plethora of courses which are available is just astounding, honestly. And every time I go on Skillshare, I end up adding at least like 5 courses that I want to do to my like wish list, because you can do things on graphic design, video editing, calligraphy. If you want to learn a new skill, then Skillshare is the place to do it. There will be a link in the description box, and the first 500 people to use this link can get their first month of Skillshare for free, which is so cool. And on top of that, 40% off the 1-year plan. So if you do want to use Skillshare, then definitely click on that link. Anyway, with that said, let's get into my weekend and inevitably a lot of studying. Good morning, it's Sunday and I thought I would do a day in my life today. I did wake up a little later than I was expecting, but when I woke up I was so tired, and because I got to bed quite late last night I knew that I wouldn't actually be that productive today if I got up at like 6. So instead 8:30, and I've done a little bit of admin this morning for maybe the last hour, just under an hour, and I'm now going to head to the library to get started with probably the text on this module that I've been looking forward to the most, and it's also the last one that we'll do. Ignore the clothes on my bed, laundry day. This is my beautiful copy of the complete works of Milton, and I haven't read the book yet. I've been like waiting. I'm really excited. It's the only thing by Milton I haven't read, you know, of the big works. I don't like the idea of not having any new Milton to read. I'm gonna head to the library and read this. It goes without saying that I'm gonna bring some tea with me to the library. So this is a little green tea, and at Oxford you're only allowed to use a very specific keep cup, which is the Bodleian Library one. There are a few variations. Samson Agonistes is framed as a dramatic poem which is called Tragedy by Milton, and even though it was never meant to be staged, it mostly does follow the unities of Aristotelian tragedy. So you've got the unity of time, in that it takes place within 24 hours, unity of space because it's all in one place, and unity of action, which is the idea that there shouldn't be any subplots, just one main overarching action-based plot. All I'm saying though is that it could be staged, and the fact that it isn't, the fact that it's a dramatic poem as opposed to a dramatic tragedy, maybe draws even more attention to the fact that he wants this to be read and for it to be experienced poetically. Honestly, every time I read Milton, I am amazed by how great he really is. I mean, everyone knows this. Everyone knows John Milton is a genius. And then you go back and read him and you're just kind of slightly flabbergasted by how exquisite the poetry is. And honestly, one of the things that I love most about Milton is he makes you ask questions and he makes you actionably get involved as a reader in those questions that he's asking. Like, his work is so morally complex to the extent that it can be distressing. He's definitely the kind of author you need to sit with for some time though. You know, something like Paradise Lost isn't the sort of thing you dip into. On the topic of dipping in and taking him out of context though, I do want to read you one of my favourite lines. It's right at the beginning. And Samson is sitting in the dark, totally inwardly lamenting, and he says, "I hear the sound of words, their sense the air dissolves unjointed, ere it reach my ear." And that's as he hears the chorus or the state start to approach. And yes, I have taken that quote out of context, but I don't feel too bad doing this because commonplacing was very common in early modern England. After reading the book, I read Wayward Contracts by Victoria Khan, which is an essay which we were asked to read for this week. In total, this essay took me about 3 hours to read, with all of the notes I took and the extra research I did to kind of to aid understanding of it, but it was such a great essay. So after doing some more work, I ventured out in the rain to a study group meeting at the English faculty. We basically just talked through the questions that our group had been set about Samson Agonistes. Oxford was also looking so beautiful this evening because of all of the rain. It reminded me a bit of Venice actually, the way that the paving stones with their puddles were reflecting and casting back the ochre yellow lamps. It was absolutely exquisite. I'm back in my room and I realised I didn't come back to my room at all from like 9 to 5, which is quite unusual for me. Then I got on with doing some more studying, but this is for my paleography class, so we had to do a group presentation this week. So as a group, we had to transcribe a series of letters which described this scandalous event where an academic had borrowed a manuscript and then destroyed a clasp on it. So we had to work out what it was saying, and then we were given a set of questions and we divided these. So for my question, I was thinking about what this exchange tells us about institutional and pedagogical kind of intercourse at this time. Okay, I've just finished the presentation. All done. I said that I could open this parcel once I'd finished my presentation and planned part 1 of the essay. I was meant to finish with the presentation at 7, but it's now 9:15. But it is done. Only now I've got to edit a YouTube video. Thankfully though, it's a night routine and night routines don't take me very long to edit. And I do really like editing, but honestly at the moment I don't have that much time, especially because it's week 6 of term. And well, like tomorrow is week 6 and week 5 and 6 are just very hectic. Like I have so many presentations next week and the 5,000 word essay in for Thursday. Wait, okay. It's from Bird and Blend and they've sent me a tea advent calendar. Genuinely, the amount of joy that this brings me every day. I love the letters as well. The colour scheme, I will say, is not my favourite. Like the blue and yellow, it's very bright. I love like the illustrations here. They always like give you a space where you can write down your top blends. Looking forward to the 1st of December when I can actually use that. There's more tea in here. Oh my gosh, I love these. My mum got me these for Christmas a couple of years ago. It's a selection box of all of their Christmassy teas. There is a Wallace and Gromit tea, which is very cool. And so my camera's about to run out, but I want to show you. And then these 2 teas, Deck Dreaming and Lemon and Ginger. Okay, now the chronology of this is very odd because I'm showing you Friday, even though I just showed you Sunday, but the ordering of it just seemed to make more sense in my head. Why do we always go chronological with vlogs? This is me on Friday, and I was trying out a new library spot today. And this is one I've actually never been to before, which is kind of bizarre considering that it was possibly on par with the Radcliffe camera, the one I was most excited to use, which is the Duke Humphrey's library. They actually filmed the restricted section of Harry Potter here, and it's absolutely gorgeous. You can't bring like pens in, you can't bring bags in, you can't bring water in, you have to leave everything in a locker outside like you're going into archives. But yeah, I'm gonna go this morning and study there for 2 hours before my seminar. Before that though, I'll pop into Pratt and get a coffee, walk around in the rain possibly. I'll probably get to the library at more like 9:30, being realistic. Oh, and if you're wondering, this morning I did film a clip. I read 2 academic essays ahead of my seminar today, planned for a meeting with my supervisor, and just wrote up some notes on some manuscripts I saw yesterday in the new college archives. It's really raining today. It's very, very wet outside, which is actually making me so happy. There's nothing like autumn rain. Like, it's my absolute favourite thing. And I've got a beautiful massive mug of green tea, which is now actually cold. There's, you know, just like a tiny bit left. But yeah, it's definitely crunch time in the term. Suddenly I've got loads and loads of work to do, and kind of lots of things due in. So I'm definitely busy, and I do need to get on with work and stop rambling to the camera. I almost didn't bring my hat and my gloves, and then I realised I was freezing cold and I was only in my room. My hands are numb, and I haven't even left the building yet. Like, I don't even know how it's so cold. This building is known for being warm, and it's just very cold. I didn't notice the sticker. And then before my seminar, I headed to the Duke Humphrey's library. This was my first time in the Duke Humphrey's library, and oh my goodness, I was utterly in awe. Of course, I've heard so much about this library. It's where they filmed the restricted section in Harry Potter, and there's also this I read this excellent essay recently from McCrae in the 1880s describing the Duke Humphrey's library, and it was so beautifully done. I was kind of saying it to myself as I was sat here and looking around. But I was working some more on my essay here, of course. And after my seminar, I headed to Hall to grab some lunch. It was Friday, which meant that there were chips, and it was very good. And I was also reading some of Antigone as I was eating. I headed to the library briefly after that to do some work, but only very briefly because I had a meeting with my dissertation supervisor. Okay, I just had a meeting with my supervisor and now I'm going to head back and do some work. And then I headed back to Duke Humphrey's library for a couple of hours because it's just such an exquisite space and I definitely want to go more. And my closest friend at Oxford literally just like came in while I was in there, which was such great timing, so we sat together. But then I did have to go to the Radcliffe Camera because I'd requested this massive book of articles from the Jacobin magazine in the Victorian period because there was one specific anonymous article which I needed to find, and I sat there for 20 minutes just leafing through the pages looking for it, but I did find it. And to celebrate, I picked up a Ben's cookie, which was really delicious. I've never had a Ben's cookie before. I changed into a jumper because it's actually so cold in my room. I accidentally left the window open today, which was not good. So I'm gonna get ready for dinner now. This is what I'm wearing. I'm just wearing all black and then I've added this jacket, which I think is formal enough. Cutting it so fine. I really wanted to curl my hair as well, but realistically, I don't think I'll have time. I'm actually just so bad with timings. I always think I'll be fine. I'm like, oh yeah, I've got ages. But I don't think I don't take into account that like it's gonna take me about 5 minutes to actually finish a task once like the timer goes. So it kind of I'll be looking at the clock and I'll be like, oh yeah, I don't need to finish for another 3 minutes. So I'll just keep on going up until 3 minutes instead of starting to round off my work. And people are always surprised that I'm really bad at being on time for things. Like, I plan a lot and I'm fairly organised, but I'm really bad with timings, which is kind of contradictory because it means I end up actually really not being well prepared or organised. I'm just going to put on some concealer and I always put it here because I think it was my sister told me that it's like a highlighter. I just kind of trust my sister sometimes when she recommends something. She actually filmed this video like ages ago where she did my makeup like hers. Lots of people have been asking me how I'm finding my course so far, whether I'm enjoying it, and truly and genuinely I cannot tell you how much I'm loving it. Like, this week has been stressful and last week was quite stressful, and I know next week will be stressful just because suddenly we've got a lot of work and all of our deadlines are now in week 5. I mean, people said at the beginning of the term, I always put pink eyeshadow here. That's just kind of the way I do eyeshadow. Oh, that was a bit too much though. People were saying week 5 got really hectic and I was like, oh, I don't think it would be that bad though because we don't have that many assessments objectively. But then there are lots of things like presentations this week as well. So this weekend, for example, I'm meeting with my study group for one of my modules because we have to do, like at the beginning of every week, we present on a topic and we're given certain things in the reading material to present to the rest of the group. So we'll meet on Sunday to discuss that, and then I've also got a presentation on Monday, so I'm meeting with my group tomorrow. And that presentation actually was really, really fun. So it's for my paleography module class. It's not actually assessed. It's just a pass or fail exam. You know, pass it to prove that we can actually read early modern documents. Our tutor is also amazing for that module. He's just like so nice. It's this long back and forth of letters about this manuscript. And this guy going, I'm so sorry, I promise I didn't do anything. And then being like, yes, you did. I really need to go. Have I done everything? I think so. I am getting there like half an hour before the meal actually starts though. So if I'm a tiny bit late, I don't think it will matter that much. It should be really fun. New College is beautiful as well. It's where they filmed the tree scene in Harry Potter, you know, the ferret one. And when my friend took me on a tour of New College, I was so excited. And I also actually went back to New College yesterday. I went to the archives there because there was something I wanted to check for my dissertation, which was actually so useful as well. If you're at university, I really, really encourage you asking your archivist, you know, what do they have, or if you've just got a vague interest, saying, oh, I'm interested in this, do you have anything related? Because they really want to help, and I think a lot of students don't realise that they can ask, but that's one of the great things about being at an institution and being at university is that you do have access to not only the resources, but also, you know, incredible members of staff who are experts in this. You know, archivists have, you know, they're experts in this material. They know it better than anyone, and I think we really downplay the value and importance of librarians and archivists. So really just, you know your archivist. Say hello to your librarian. It's one of the best things you can do for learning. Oh, and there's my hair as well. I'm not gonna curl it. I did put on my hair curler, but I'm gonna be late. I think I might just wear my brogues. It's not gowns as well, so just coat. And I won't bring a book, I'll just bring this because it's actually got poems in it that, you know, and things to read. So if I really wanted to read, then I can just read my commonplace book. So I basically went to guest night at New College, which is a formal dinner. I went with one of my course friends and it was so much fun. Honestly, the loveliest evening, even though I will say that my terribly unsophisticated palate was not particularly fond of the main course. I just got back from dinner and it was honestly the nicest evening. There were 3 of us and they walked with me back to college, which was so nice. Yeah, it's now like 10 o'clock, so dinner finished at about 8:30 and then we just chatted for like an hour and a half. And I'm freezing cold as well. I should have worn gloves. I also picked up this parcel. I mean, I can assume from the packaging that it is, in fact, peanut butter. Crazy as well, because that's a school friend of mine who's like sent the card. And she's working at Manly Life. Deep roasted salted peanuts and cocoa dusted peanuts. Oh my gosh, I will try these tomorrow. There's also, I mean, I'm assuming this is peanut butter. It's organic peanut butter as well. Thank you so much, Manly Life. And thank you, Emma, especially. I'm now just gonna get ready for bed. Oh, and also this came today. I said on Instagram that I was sad the other day and so I compulsively bought the books that were on my book wish list on eBay. It's The Thief and Plays by Sophocles. I just really wanted a copy of Antigone because when I've read it in the past, like I printed out the play and I've read it 3 times maybe, but it's only ever print out and I wanted like a nice edition. It's something that I do return to and I do like dipping into. This edition's gorgeous. Like I went through so many looking for the perfect one. I'm really getting to the stage where I want to like be curating my future home library. I like the idea of collecting books because I love books, but specifically I love the materiality of books, and the edition that you have, the imprint that you have, the physical object of the book is obviously going to inform the way that you then interact with and read the book. And part of the experience of reading is, you know, the feel of the paper, the weight of the book, the you know, what the cover looks like when you do close it. They say don't judge a book by its cover, but it's impossible not to. The book cover is embedded into our reception of the book and the way that we then like look at it and think about it. Life's too short to get bad editions of books.